Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the Online Series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a brand new Xerneas team that I created, and if you haven't seen that, would highly recommend the episode. There's also a rental and a paste for this team down in the description below. As I mentioned, I don't think Xerneas is exactly the most consistent Pokemon in Series 8 at the moment, so this team is definitely, on average, a little bit weaker than maybe some of the more top meta standard teams. That being said, I think that it is definitely fun to play with, and I hope that you enjoy trying it out. So yeah, let's get into today's episode. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like, and let's get started. We got Calyrex-I Trick Room stuff for the first game here. So they don't actually have Fairy Resist, so Xerneas can actually do some pretty heavy damage here, which is neat. But obviously you want to watch out for Trick Room. I like Rotom, Entei, Xerneas, and Rillaboom the most here, I think. Mainly Rillaboom for terrain control. Rotom can set up pretty easily with a Nasty Plot as a lead. So I kind of like Rotom plus Entei lead, Xerneas plus Rillaboom in the back. There is an argument to be made for Grimmsnarl, specifically for Trick Full Incense, but the thing here is that with Indeedee, it's kind of hard to actually get a trick off. If they didn't have Indeedee, I'd probably lean more towards bringing Grimmsnarl. But I think I like this. We'll see how it plays out. Because the thing is, I can just get a Nasty Plot off, and Calyrex Ice doesn't actually match up super well into Rotom Heat, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to use Rotom Heat on this team in the first place, right? I can pressure with a Nasty Plot. Even if you're at +2, Calyrex Ice is typically using Ice, Fighting, Ground. It's very much like last year, so you don't actually have great coverage into Rotom Heat, especially if Rotom Heat Dynamaxes. The main thing we'll want to watch out for is making sure Calyrex Ice doesn't get like too many attack boosts, especially through like Glacial Lance, so we'll see. Either way, thanks as always for watching Road to Ranked. This last week's been a little bit frustrating for me, mainly just because I've been having some technical difficulties, and it sounded like actually the buzzing static noise came back in the 4th match yesterday. So if it is in the background of today's episode, again, I do apologize, and hopefully it's not. But yeah, I did order a brand new microphone, so that should be coming in a few days. It's going to be Indeedee plus Dusclops here. See, the thing here is I don't think Indeedee even feels the need to go for a Follow Me. I could Eruption and Nasty Plot. Could switch Entei out into Rillaboom. Definitely like the idea of Nasty Plotting. And I think I'm actually willing to go into Rillaboom here, yeah. Because I think if I'm my opponent, I would just go for Expanding Force Trick Room turn 1, because you're not at risk of getting KO'd onto Dusclops right now. So, by going for this, I change the terrain, I pressure with Banded Grassy Glide onto Indeedee next turn. So then the question, my opponent has to make the awkward decision, do you just sacrifice Indeedee or do you switch it out the subsequent turn? Yeah, so they don't follow me, which makes sense. Rupture would have been tempting just for damage there, but I don't think damage is actually that worth it for us in this position, so yeah. It is just going to be Force onto the Rotom, it's a sizable amount of damage, Trick Room goes up. Now the question is whether or not Dusclops has Haze. That's one of my primary questions right now. I have Knockoff with this Rillaboom, which is pretty handy against Dusclops, because I could go for something like Thunderbolt plus Knockoff into the Dusclops, which is actually quite tempting right now. I think I'm going to go for that. I also could have doubled up onto Indeedee here, but I don't know. It's tricky, right? Would you really want to switch out Indeedee right now if you're my opponent? You could just switch Indeedee out and then go for like a self-weakness policy activation immediately, but that feels pretty risky, right? Because like I could very easily have doubled up onto the Indeedee slot. This is always the awkward thing about turn 2 of Trick Room when you lead something like Indeedee Dusclops or Amoonguss Dusclops, where it's like you guarantee the Trick Room up, but then where do you go on turn 2? Do you make that risky switch? Follow Me could always come out here as well, of course. They do switch. Into Incineroar though, okay, yeah. So that makes sense. I think the instant switch makes a lot of sense because you get an Intimidate off against me here, and you don't risk switching in Calyrex-I. So yeah, I think that's a really good switch on my opponent's end. Oh, and they go for Taunt actually. Okay, you know, I don't mind that too much. Unfortunately though, I don't think we're gonna get this we're gonna get the knockout after the Intimidate. Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer, I have to say, but it's okay. The good thing here is like they still don't have Calyrex Ice out on the field, right? And so that obviously works in our advantage. We still have this thing at +2. Only downside is that it's taunted. Rillaboom's at risk of eating a Flare Blitz right now. Dynamaxing Xerneas is not a terrible idea. I can't protect Rotom, which is Kind of a downside right now for us. So because I can't protect, I honestly kind of feel forced to just max it right now. We can Dynamax, go for Lightning onto Dusclops, and then switch Rillaboom out into Entei. Okay, I think I'm down for that. Yeah, it is a little bit awkward that the Rillaboom was faster than the Rotom here, because otherwise if it was the other way around, I could have gone knockoff into the Thunderbolt to pick up the KO. If we picked up a KO onto Dusclops there, it's actually really good for us, because you either bring Indeedee, which means you waste another turn of your Trick Room, or you're forced to bring out Glastrier, but then I pressure with a +2 Max Flare immediately. So, not knocking out Dusclops there, definitely a little bit disappointing. I'm going for the Lightning rather than the Flare here, because I'm afraid of them going for a Flare Blitz onto me, but it may have been better, honestly, to just have gone for an attack. Either way, though, I think Dynamax Rotom definitely feels okay into this matchup, and it is going to be Pain Split onto Entei, yeah. I don't even know if Max Lightning KOs from that range, to be honest, especially if we're getting Parting Shotted, so that's not great. The good thing is they don't have EVLI. This is a +1 Max Lightning into Dusclops. We've seen Pain Split, Taunt, Trick Room. Presumably a way to self-activate a weakness policy is my guess, and yeah, Indeedee comes back out, so like, it's just kind of awkward for my opponent because they just never feel safe in actually bringing in the Calyrex-I, right? The good thing here is that we will change the terrain so they can't go for Expanding Force, but you know, they can still go for the what am I want to say here? Max Lightning. It's not enough for a KO. Okay. That's kind of frustrating. I should have just Max Flare there then to set up the Sun, I guess. It's still not the end of the world, to be honest, though. Like, we're not even in that bad shape. There's still 2 turns of Trick Room, +1 special attack. Terrain is up. Yeah, I like Flare into Dusclops. And we should Interruption here. Overheat. And I'm down to double up into Dusclops because it's not going to have Protect in this position. Okay, so they're going to Pain Split into Rotom this time around. Yep. We should get the knockout onto that, though, which is good. And they're just going to Expanding Force Rotom, which is honestly fine by me. Like, you can see how Rotom Heat alone just kind of demolishes my opponent's team in this given moment. So this is kind of nice because I'll set up the Sun, and I should KO Dusclops. If Indeedee isn't sashed, I wouldn't think Max Flare and Sun KOs, to be honest, but let's see. You know what? I actually don't regret going for Max Lightning last turn, because if we flared, then Indeedee gets in safely, and you have Psychic Terrain, and you get a free switch into Calyrex. The main thing here is that my opponent's just never been able to actually get that free switch into Calyrex, which has been pretty good for us, I'd say. So we'll get Max Flare off. Indeedee is not, or is going to survive with a sliver of HP, so it's a little bit disappointing, but that's okay. We still have one more turn of Dynamax to play with here on Rotom. And they bring Incineroar out, so really playing the dance right now where they just can't get the Calyrex in safely. So I think I'm going to want to switch Entei out for sure right now. If I'm my opponent, what do I go for? I think your play is to follow me with Indeedee and then Parting Shot into Rotom. So I could Flare and Overheat into Incineroar. I mean, Incineroar's definitely Parting Shotting here, right? I guess the only fear is if I get a chunk of damage that I don't actually want to get off and activate a weakness policy. Honestly, I think Flare and Overheat into Incineroar here is worth it. Yes, we're at -2, but they still don't want to take an Overheat in the Sun. Oh, interesting. Indeedee protected. Okay. Is it Parting Shot? It is. Okay, well, we just won the game then, I'm pretty sure, because they didn't go for Follow Me. Nice. Yeah, this is just the awkwardness of running like hard Trick Room setups, right? My opponent never had the opportunity to just get Calyrex Ice in for free safely. So as long as we don't miss Overheat, Max Flare in Sun plus -2 Overheat, I think should be enough for a KO. Even if not, I think we're still in really good shape because Xerneas can just Dazzling Gleam to end this game. But I think that Protect is a little bit risky because I have the room to make this Max Flare play. And that's just the one-hit KO, yeah. Okay. I mean, we definitely take those. And Overheat goes into Protect. But, yeah, like, you know, I guess my opponent hasn't maxed yet, so I guess you max Incineroar at this point. But we have the numbers advantage, plus we have Banded Rillaboom in the back. Although, Incin and Sun is kind of scary here, but I just think you don't have enough firepower. Because I can just T-Bolt right now and Overheat into Indeedee. So I guess if you're my opponent, maybe you go for a double protect right now. Go for a double protect or an overheat miss on Entei. I don't want to really switch out Entei, so I think I'm just going to Thunderbolt onto Incin and overheat into Indeedee. They could still win this with max Incin, so they shouldn't give up yet. But, okay, they end up forfeiting. The really tricky thing about, yeah, once again, like, my opponent never had a safe opportunity to get that Calyrex-I in, which is one way you want to approach playing Trick Room matchups, right? Make it so that they have to make some really tough reads, and you also put yourself in positions where if you make the right read, like we did in that last turn, although that wasn't even really a read, right? Like, it's just safe to double up onto Incineroar because Indeedee's not doing anything to us to pressure us in that situation. When you think about follow me users, ask yourself, like, hey, what's the worst case scenario if we don't target that slot? Because I think, like, Indeedee and Clefairy are great examples where they actually can't do that much past, you know, redirection. Especially if the Psychic Terrain isn't up, which was the example in that last one, right? So Rotom Heat was really great in that one. Entei put in a lot of work, honestly, just being able to get some overheats off as well. So overall, the main thing that was tricky for my opponent in that one is never getting Calyrex-I in, because with Calyrex-I, you know, the goal typically is to just get it in under Trick Room, get that weakness policy activated, and just sweep through. But because my opponent never actually brought it out under Trick Room because Rotom Heat was on the field, it was pretty tricky for them. Oh, wow, okay. Well, I'm very happy to see someone else using my team. I haven't thought about the mirror match at all, so that's going to be interesting. How in the world do you approach this? I feel like it's probably through Xerneas, but, like, Trick on this Grimmsnarl is really valuable, isn't it? Rotom Heat feels really good. Yeah, I kind of want to try out Grimmsnarl plus Rotom Heat. So yeah, I don't have my own fake out, so it's not like I can just knock out the Grimmsnarl. This is fascinating. I mean, I could just go with Thundurus, but the thing I don't like about Thundurus is I can't protect, right? So then the trick shenanigans are just really annoying to deal with. So Grimmsnarl, Rotom, Thundurus, and Xerneas, I'm thinking. Rotom kind of feels like the key Pokemon, though, so maybe it's bad to just lead it. Like, maybe I should be conserving it. Now I realize my team is kind of Rotom Heat weak, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's Rillaboom. And Entei, I mean, there aren't any Steel types on, so. Oh, man. Well, I wish my opponent the best of luck. This is pretty cool. I haven't played against one of my own teams in a while, mainly because I haven't made teams for quite a while now, but one of the best games I ever had on Road to Ranked, if I remember correctly. Is that my Discord? I thought I muted that. Sorry. That should be muted. Okay, they go with Grimmsnarl Thundurus. So this is actually what I really wanted to see this, because I can just steal away Thundurus' item, and I think that's actually really critical here. Yeah, so I'm going to Trick onto Thundurus. What would I do in their position? Trick onto Rotom? Max Knuckle onto Grimmsnarl? It's okay if you Trick onto Rotom though, right? Because then I have Thundurus in the back. Although Rotom does feel like the most important Pokemon to play towards here. I don't know. I kind of want to go for Trick onto the Thundurus and a Nasty Plot on the first turn. Because I think they're probably going to max Thundurus here, right? And as soon as we get full instance onto their Thundurus and get rid of the full instance from their Grimmsnarl, our Thundurus in the back can put in a lot of work. I guess the only problem here is, am I actually supposed to play towards AV Thundurus, or am I supposed to play towards Dynamax Rotom? I'm not sure. But I definitely didn't want to lead my Thundurus in this matchup, because, yeah, I don't want to play the Grim Thundurus mirror match. Okay, so let's see. We'll get Trick off. Downside, obviously, is that we have Assault Vest now. They're going to go for Max Knuckle. Oh, interesting. Grimmsnarl's attacking here. Okay. You know, I really like that play. I think that's a very good play. Because you get an attack boost onto your own Grimmsnarl here, which is really, really cool. It's a good Max Knuckle as well. I was thinking about protecting Rotom. Not sure if that would have been worth it. Yep, it's going to be Spirit Break now onto my Grimmsnarl. Yeah, honestly, I think that's a great play from their end. The good thing here is they have two Lacking Tails on their side now, right? So I can just go for Spirit Break. The thing is, do I want to max Rotom? If you're my opponent, you can just Trick and then Knuckle onto Rotom, right? That seems kind of scary. Trick and Knuckle onto Rotom, but that shouldn't KO me. So I think it's fine to Spirit Break. I don't want to Dynamax this thing because I don't want to be outsped by what they have in the back. Like, to win mirror matches, you often want to play towards the speed advantage that you have. So I think just Thunderbolt into Spirit Break here is fine into Grimmsnarl. Yeah. Because I would assume they would go for a Trick. Yep. So that's the thing, right? I wanted to make sure Grimmsnarl couldn't trick my Thundurus in the back. I don't know if this is really worth it at the end of the day, though. Oh, you know what? They just got Citrus Berry. I wonder... That is going to let them survive, isn't it? Oh, wow. Maybe I should have overheated then. That is interesting. Yeah, I think I probably should have overheated there then. Okay. Oh, never mind. Grimmsnarl's good. It just gets the knockout anyway. Okay, then it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And they're going to go for another Knuckle here, presumably onto Rotom again. I think that'd be the better target. But they actually target Grimmsnarl, which I'm happy about because that gives me a free switch in, which is actually very nice for us. They are at +2 attack, though, which is pretty scary on that Thundurus. I could go into my Thundurus, but I really don't think I should be taking a +2 max lightning from their end. So I think we actually go out into Xerneas so we can protect. Like, protect Xerneas. The thing is, they can bring out their Xerneas. Yep, exactly. And then you can max Airstream right now. So that's another interesting question. Like, do you go for the Airstream in this position? Because I think I definitely want to protect Xerneas. I think the play that makes the most sense is protect in Xerneas here and just overheat into their Xerneas. I don't know. If I brought out Thundurus, I think I take too much damage from a max lightning at +2 attack. So I didn't really like the idea of that. I think things might have been tougher if they maxed... Well, not necessarily. I guess I am forced to bring, like, one of my stronger Pokemon out right now. So, yeah, I mean, mirror matches, like, often, obviously, speed ties are going to be relevant, but in this game it hasn't actually because we've taken, like, different approaches to the game, which is kind of cool to see. So I'm going to protect... wow, they Moonblast into Rotom. Okay, nice read. Did they double up onto that slot? That'd be really impressive. Darkness onto... Is that Rotom? Well played. Well played. Okay. That's a really, really good read, because you also get a special defense drop on me, so nicely done. My only... Like, I think the big question now... That was a really good read. Like, I think we've been playing pretty evenly throughout this entire game, and that was, like, a very, very aggressive and nice play. I guess I could have just double protected there, but I didn't think that was worth it. So, having a special defense drop is scary. Their Wild Charge is also looking pretty scary. I'm afraid Moonblast just KOs my Xerneas right now. So I'm leaning towards just Dazzling Gleam, Dynamax, and Airstream into Xern. But I'm afraid a +2 Wild Charge is just not enough to knock out my Xerneas. That would be really bad. I actually should have thought about the repercussions of that last turn, because, yeah, that was really, really nicely done. Even though I got the trick onto Thundurus, this thing getting attack boosts made it a lot, stronger of an offensive threat. Okay, I'm going to Airstream into Xerneas, and basically hope to survive Wild Charge, I think, from Thundurus and onto my Xern. They could also protect theirs. Like, the other thing here is if I don't Airstream, I won't guaranteed be faster than their Xerneas, which is also a problem. But what I could have done here was Red into their Xerneas protecting and Airstream Moonblast into Thundurus. So, really nice aggressive read that last turn. Okay, let's see. They're not going to protect, so that's good. I don't even know if Airstream into Life Orb Dazzle KOs here. I think it should. Okay. So that's good. Because I think Thundurus can definitely pull this off right now. The problem is, if my opponent's last one is that Rotom Heat, you can just Nasty Plot twice and then Thunderbolt on my last turn, right? I felt forced to make that play, though. And I would assume they Wild Charge into my Xern. If this KOs, it's going to be real close. Ooh, but Xerneas hangs on with 7 HP. Nice. Okay. I think that wins us the game, actually, because we basically get one more attack off with Xerneas, which is really, really critical, but wasn't 100% sure on that survival. It was a really nice double up onto Rotom the last turn, though, and yeah, their last one is Rotom. So we ended up bringing the same Pokemon. I think those are really the best Pokemon to bring into this matchup. I think we can just Moonblast here into Rotom and Max Knuckle. Yeah. There's actually an argument to be made to protect the Xerneas here this turn. Because the thing is, I'm actually going to faint from... I'm going to faint from my Life Orb, and Rotom should Nasty Plot here. Although I don't think a +2, because we still have Dynamax, yeah, I don't think a +2 Overheat KOs AV Thundurus anyway, so I think we're probably fine. Especially with that damage. Yeah, I think we're fine here. Because, yeah, if you protect, then I just end the game with the Superpower. This was a really interesting game, though. And honestly, yeah, I think my opponent played it really, really well as well. Yeah, so there's Nasty Plot. I have one more turn of Dynamax left, though, and that's the main critical thing. If they had protected their Xerneas, this definitely could have been a little bit scary as well, although we'd be in a pretty similar situation. Is it better to actually just go for a Darkness? Because you're not going to KO here. No, Knuckle's always the right play, right? Is it? Well, it doesn't matter because we already procced the Citrus Berry. And Darkness into Superpower should KO, so I think we actually just go for our strongest attack here. Because if they don't protect, then we just win the game. Even if you protect, we just Superpower afterwards. Like, the only thing I was worried about is, let's say Max Knuckle at +1 attack doesn't KO, then they... Yeah, sorry, it doesn't KO them if they don't protect, and then they crit Overheat onto Thundurus. But I don't know if +2 crit would KO there. But since we have +1 and we have Superpower right now, like, that should just be a guaranteed win for us. But Xerneas surviving was definitely very clutch. Let's just make sure Superpower is our strongest attack. We can't miss that. It's neutral against Rotom. That should seal us up the game. So the main thing I wanted to do in this game was stall out my opponent's Dynamax, and that's why I wanted to lead Grimmsnarl Thundurus, because I obviously knew that their Thundurus, you know, or the Thundurus that I built here does not have the Assault Vest, or sorry, has the Assault Vest, so it can't protect. So that's what I was thinking of. Get the speed advantage, and then go from there. But their Max Knuckles were really smart because, sure, Thundurus might be attacking last, but if I can't KO it, then it doesn't matter because you're still pressuring with a lot of damage. So, yeah, I thought my opponent took a really nice approach to that. Their turn 1 play was pretty cool as well, the Knuckle and Spirit Break double up. So, yeah, a lot of unexpected plays. The double up onto Rotom was a really, really good read as well. And at the time, I just didn't even think about that possibility, and I should have a little bit more. I think they had the opportunity to maybe protect Xerneas. That could have been pretty scary. Fortunately for us, they didn't. But it is tricky, right? Because if you protect Xerneas and I read into the protect there, I kind of just win the game. So can definitely see why they just attacked there. But either way, yeah, definitely cool to go up against my own team. Last game's Ho-Oh. Xerneas isn't great against Ho-Oh, but obviously Thundurus and Rotom Heat are both fantastic against it. So that's good. The main thing here is I think we want to make sure we get the most out of our Dynamax because they have a lot of bulky stuff that can heal up consistently. So I want to be careful about that. Kind of like all of my Pokemon here, to be honest. Have to respect Zapdos, Urshifu, Zapdos, Grimmsnarl as a lead as well, right? That could be a nuisance, because you could just Fake Tier stuff. Not knowing Grimmsnarl sets are always so tricky. I don't think I'd want to bring Rillaboom just for knockoff. I don't think it's worth it. So I think Rotom, Thundurus definitely need to come out because of the Ho-Oh. And then probably Xerneas Entei, but it feels really bad to not bring Grimmsnarl, especially because it can Fake Tiers in this matchup. That actually feels like a really good reason to bring it. I also have to worry about Eerie Impulse Porygon here, don't I? Yeah, I definitely do. You know what? I'm going to go Thundurus Xerneas here with the idea of maybe just Superpower, Max Starfall into Rotom. Rotom Heat in the back, and then for the last one, Scarf Entei is really tempting, just for Eruptions. It might be our last game with this team. I'm going to bring Entei just because I think it's one of the more unique members of this team. So why the heck not? Either way, this has been a fun series of games. Yeah, it's always cool to go up against your own team. I think mirror matches can be really tricky because obviously, like, if you're using the exact same Pokemon, they have the same speed stats, the speed ties become really relevant. So when I play mirror matches, I tend to try to, optimize my play so I don't have to deal with potential speed ties. I think that's typically a good approach. They're going to go with Grimmsnarl and Zapdos. Okay. The thing here is whether or not you respect the Xerneas, because what I want to do is just max Airstream into Dazzling Gleam. Get rid of the Grimmsnarl ASAP. think I like that. The thing, though, is like Grimmsnarl might fake out Xerneas, so like max Starfall here is a little bit tempting. But I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, I think I just like Airstreaming and Gleaming here. Zapdos isn't really that scary considering I wrote him Heat in the back. They're probably going to Dynamax Zapdos. I don't even know if they bring Ho-Oh into this matchup. I think they still do, but... This one's just weird, because I feel like... Oh, interesting. That works with me. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. What's also kind of cool in this matchup is I can Max Lightning to set up Electric Terrain, and Xerneas can Thunderbolt for more damage into Ho-Oh. So that actually might be super relevant here. Let's see. Either way, I think this is a decent turn 1 for us. I don't think Life Orb Zapdos, Max Airstream, or Max Lightning should one-shot Xerneas, right? So if we survive, then I actually think we're in really good shape going into turn 2. And they are going to Max Zapdos, which is also fine by me. Because as of right now, all 3 Pokemon my opponent brought has been really, really weak to Rotom Heat. So, yeah. And the main thing is that we have the faster Dynamax between us two. Their Zapdos will probably do more damage to me, but that's okay. You know, I don't really mind that. So let's see. The main thing here is I just want to make sure I consistently outpace my opponent. And, yeah, I mean, that's great damage from Airstream. Max Lightning is... I mean, another Airstream will KO. The main thing here is I just want to make sure Xerneas outspeeds Xerneas outspeeds Zapdos. Great damage from Dazzle. I'll take that. I would expect an Airstream from their end onto Xerneas. Yep. Hopefully we survive this. Okay. Good job, Xerneas. That's a very, very big survival. It is tricky, though, because Zapdos is probably max speed here. If it weren't, I could just go, like, Max Darkness, Moonblast to KO Zapdos, right? But I think I'm forced more or less to just Airstream again. I could protect the Xerneas here. But then you get a free switch into Grimmsnarl, which I don't like. Yeah, honestly, I think here it's fine to just Airstream into Ho-Oh. That gets a KO, gives us a speed boost, and then Moonblast into Zapdos. That feels fine to me. Because we kind of have the advantage right now. They do protect Ho-Oh, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I don't think that's too much of an issue. The question is what my opponent's last Pokemon is going to be in this game. Ho-Oh, Zapdos, I would guess Urshifu, which means no Porygon, which is kind of nice. Could have read into that Protect, but I don't think it's worth reading it. Like, I just want to ensure that I get a Moonblast off before Xerneas faints here. And yeah, look how much damage that is, right? Zapdos is in KO range from practically anything at this point. And the main thing is I don't want to go for anything but Airstream, because if Ho-Oh gains the speed advantage, then it can outspeed me. Or sorry, Zapdos gains the speed advantage. Then it can Airstream before me the subsequent turn, and then also give Ho-Oh another speed boost. So, we don't really want that. We have Entei and Rotom in the back. I think we just bring in Rotom, yeah. Because Rotom can take any attack from Zapdos pretty well. We can just Airstream, give Rotom a speed boost, allowing it to outspeed Urshifu. I could Nasty Plot in this position, but don't really feel like there's a great need for that. I think Airstream, just to ensure we outspeed Zapdos again, is good. And I honestly like just Thunderbolting in this position. Let's just get the knockout, pick up 2 KOs. They switch Ho-Oh probably into Grimmsnarl. Oh, it's actually Porygon. Okay. So they don't have Urshifu in the back, which is definitely good, but now late game Trick Room scares me a little bit from my opponent's end. You know what? I think that was a bad play on my end. I think it would have been better to have Max Lightninged into the Zapdos or Max Darkness and go for a Nasty Plot onto Rotom. They're just going to Lightning onto Thundurus, but with the Assault Vest, we should take that. Yeah, no problem. Because I think if we had Nasty Plotted here, we definitely win the game. But the thing is, now Porygon actually threatens to set up Trick Room. Actually, maybe I don't KO Zapdos? Never mind, we KO. Yeah, this is still not over, because I think Porygon's a very big nuisance to us. The goal to knock out Porygon was to just, like, nuke it, right, with a lot of damage, but the problem is my opponent does get it in safely. I guess now the question is whether or not your Grimmsnarl is Fake Out, but presumably you do, so you can just go for a Fake Out. Don't think Superpower is KOing. So, what do we want to do? Does Superpower KO? I'm honestly not 100% sure. I wouldn't think so. I would Fake Out into Rotom. I think I should have Nasty Plotted instead. That was a mistake, in my opinion. I feel like Superpower doesn't KO. You know what? I think I'm still going to go for Superpower Nasty Plot here, though. I don't really need the Speed Boots on the Thundurus, so I can switch out, but... Oh, they just have Reflect. I could have just doubled up on a Porygon there. Okay, it's still fine, I think, though. Because they don't have great damage into Rotom in this late game. Plus, I would have actually needed... I don't think Thunderbolt would have KO'd. I would have needed to Overheat there. The problem here is that I think my opponent's going to have Eerie Impulse. If they don't have Eerie Impulse, the game's definitely over, I think. But Porygons are carrying Eerie Impulse so frequently these days. So the question here is, do they Eerie Impulse? Do you Nasty... Or sorry, Recover? Recover is more consistent. I want to switch out into Entei right now. Would +2 Overheat knock out if they Recover? Probably not. I'm going to go for another Nasty Plot, because they're not pressuring Rotom with damage right now. So let's say you go for a Recover, whatever. I get another Nasty Plot off, then I can Overheat the next turn. But I could have just gone for Superpower Overheat onto Porygon. I think I like that more, because it covers for the option of Grimmsnarl not having Protect, which is definitely a possibility in this scenario. So they go for Light Screen. The thing is, you know, Ho-Oh's not doing anything against Rotom Heat, so it's still a question of how much damage my output my opponent has in this endgame. Yeah, so Porygon goes for Recover, but honestly I'm okay with that. We'll get to +4 now. I feel like it's probably best to just target around the Porygon in this moment. Yeah, I don't think they can really beat Porygon here. Or sorry, Rotom. So I want to just Overheat Grimmsnarl and Thunderbolt in this position. Let's see if they have Eerie Impulse. They do have it, okay. But the good thing is that we at least, you know, I guess they'll probably just bring us down to get us to +1. Oh, I should have switched out into Thundurus there. Oh, actually, I don't really know how well that works. Never mind. The reason why I don't think it actually works out that well is because I just eat up a Spirit Break anyway. It's not like I can protect Thundurus to maintain that advantage, so yeah. Okay. We'll get Overheat and T-Bolt off. Yeah, you can see how bulky Grimmsnarl is right now. This is definitely an annoying endgame to play out. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I think I'm just going to Overheat Protect. Yeah. I don't want to switch in Thundurus yet. The endgame to beat Porygon... Ooh, nice Tri-Attack. That's a very nice Tri-Attack. They might have doubled up onto Entei there. No, they just want Spirit Break. Okay, you know, that makes sense as well. I think Porygon might honestly stall this out because it has Eerie Impulse, which is kind of painful to play out. Electricity disappears. Spirit Break will get us back to neutral. We're at +1 right now. T-Bolt should KO Grimmsnarl, though. Okay, I like the idea of going out into Thundurus and plotting here. Well, if I T-Bolt, then you have to bring in Ho-Oh, so maybe that's just better. Get rid of Grimmsnarl. But this is exactly why I wanted to bring Rillaboom for knockoff. I like should have thought about my win con against Porygon 2 more. Like, this is kind of an unacceptable game to lose after how the early game started. Okay, they actually taunt into Rotom, which I'm totally okay with. And Tri-Attack into what is now Thundurus, which is fine by me. No status condition, which is huge. Okay, good. And we should knock out Grimmsnarl here. So the good thing is that we're still at +1 special attack, actually. But the taunt makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Trick Room's over now. Scarf Entei is just so, like, mediocre for us in this endgame. Knockoff on Rillaboom would have been more valuable, but it is what it is. Okay, 2 turns of taunt, +1 speed. Oh, that +1 speed is actually really nice for us, right? Because it means we outspeed the Ho-Oh. I can't Nasty Plot here. Ho-Oh probably just protects and Porygon Trick Rooms. So I could Fly here, because it means you... Yeah. Actually, I really like Fly here. And just T-Bolt into Ho-Oh. Oh, interesting. They don't actually protect Ho-Oh. Does this KO? Oh my gosh, it doesn't. Is it Pulse Seed? Okay, no, it's not. I could have just gone for Wild Charge there instead, though. Oh gosh, and they recover. That actually might have won them the game, because if I KO'd Ho-Oh there, I would have been good. But now they can just keep recovering and Eerie Impulsing. Oh gosh. That was a really good play. If I'm my opponent, you just Tri-Attack with Rotom now and not... I should have covered for Recover. I just thought T-Bolt would KO, but not with Light Screen up, yeah. We know Tri-Attack's coming out here. And we know Recover's coming out, right? That was so good on their end. Because if I double up onto Ho-Oh there, well, I guess Ho-Oh could have very easily protected. And to be honest, Protect, I think, is always the safer play on their end anyway. It's just frustrating because I could have punished them pretty heavily there. Okay. I think they probably recover here, but I'm going to Protect. Oh, wait, I can't Protect. Whoops. That actually could be bad because these Tri-Attacks are going to hurt too. Yeah, they go for Eerie Impulse. This is why Eerie Impulse Porygon 2 is good. And with my team being primarily special, I just needed to get an initial Nasty Plot off. That was the main mistake I made in this one. So, lesson learned. I could theoretically stall Eerie Impulse PP, which is kind of funny. They're also at mercy of, like, crits, but yeah. It's actually not bad damage from Fly, though. So, I'll take that. Thunderbolt. No para. Taunt is gone. You can Eerie Impulse Rotom again now. Sacred Fire into Thunder. I think you keep healing up if you're my opponent, but like I am slowly stalling out their screens, right? They only have 2 turns of Light Screen, 1 turn of Reflect left. Yeah. I just want to switch Rotom out into Entei here, I think. If you're my opponent, what do? Eerie Impulse Rotom? And then Sacred Fire into Thundurus feels like the best play. I'm going to go into Entei here. And go for a Nasty Plot. This game dragged on so much longer than it needed to be. And honestly, we had the matchup here. So all I needed to do is make sure my opponent couldn't set up Trick Room. I needed to play towards that win condition a little bit better. Oh, they actually just Tri-Attack here. Okay, you know what? I'm fine with that. Well, maybe not actually if you double up and kick. or freeze. Although they're going to Sacred Fire into that slot too. Okay, and we survive. I think that's enough for my opponent to win this game, though, right? Because you can just Sacred Fire into Entei, Tri-Attack into Porygon. 2 turns of Trick Room left. We're at +1. Still 1 turn of Light Screen off. That's like the main bummer here. The main bummer is that they can just keep setting up Trick Room too, right? So I think we lose because of that. Although unless... The problem is also there's 2 turns of Trick Room left. So yeah, I think because I have AV, I don't have Protect on either of these Pokemon, you can just knock out Entei and Thundurus in consecutive turns, which is not good for us. So, I mean, I'll go for Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt onto Ho-Oh, but it's not looking great right now. Because you should just recover with Ho-Oh and... Or sorry, yeah, Eerie Impulse and then, like, Brave Bird or Sacred... Brave Bird's the best play in Entei because you don't want to miss here. But they did go for Sacred Fire, so that was a little bit risky because if they miss, I think they actually might just lose the game off that. But yeah, like this is exactly why you need to really play carefully against like bulky teams, and I didn't play towards my win conditions well enough here because it felt like we had such commanding control in the beginning of the game, right? We had an amazing lead matchup where we were able to like snowball pretty quickly, but I mean, the main thing here is I also could have doubled up onto Ho, but like I said, I think if Ho protects there, they might have forgotten my Rotom Heat was faster. So I could have, I don't know, just Wild Charged and T-Bolted, but then if they protect, then you just recover. So I think Protect was probably the safer play there, because I think if we knock out Ho-Oh, we would win this game, because there's just too many Pokemon for my opponent to deal with. We can hope for Sacred Fire miss still, right? I think that's our win con. So Wild Charge Ho-Oh, T-Bolt. Because Rotom would actually maybe win the 1v1 against Porygon. Okay. Sacred Fire should KO. So a crit onto Ho-Oh could also do it for us here. Oh, interesting. They actually just recover instead. That... You know, I'll take that because we might KO Ho-Oh with Wild Charge plus Thunderbolt. And if we do, that's a really big deal. I think we do get the KO. I guess they didn't want to risk a Sacred Fire miss. Okay. Oh my goodness, this game. Yeah, like, knocks out Ho-Oh, but the thing is, this Porygon can still just Eerie Impulse me for forever. And I don't think Superpower into Overheat KOs. Because we're at, what, -5 right now? Oh, it's only -3. I actually think... Superpower and Plot is better, because they're forced... You have to Trick Room here if you're my opponent, right? I also don't want to time out and lose this game. You have to Trick Room here. I don't think Superpower plus Overheat does it, and then I'm at -5, which is the problem. So I'm thinking of Superpower and plotting, because then if you recover, you take another... I'm gonna plot. Maybe -3 Overheat just does the job. I don't know. This is definitely dragging on for way too long. Okay, we'll get the Superpower off. I don't think Overheat would have KO'd, so I like plotting there. Because the thing is, now you either recover or you try attack. You have to recover, actually, I think. And I already got so much of a burst of damage off here. We're only at -1 now, so we can just go for another Superpower and a Porygon and plot, I think, again. Yeah, and keep plotting. But... Oh, they just went for Try Attack. I should have Overheated to cover that, I guess. Yeah, Overheat to cover that is definitely the right option. Now you recover. I could plot when you recover. Let's see. I'm at +1 now. You have to recover or Eerie Impulse. One of the two. I don't think we ever protect. I think I just keep plotting, actually. Yeah, because they're just going to keep recovering. The thing is, if we can get to... We're at +3 after now. I could have just Overheated last turn, though. I think that would have just won the game, but I think it's fine. The only way to lose at this point is, I think, primarily through time, which is running low. 2 turns of Trick Room left. So I think we protect. Protect into plot into Overheat is the win con here, I think. Yeah, the Eerie Impulse. Because then we'll be at +3 at the end of all of this. And I think at +3, Overheat should KO Porygon from 70%. I also don't remember how much PP Eerie Impulse has, but... It's crazy that a Porygon and a Ho managed to stall out this endgame as much as it did. But now we're at +3. We really don't want to lose the time as well. I think we just Overheat here. And I hope +3 Overheat KOs. I mean, I would think so, but Porygon's so bulky. Okay, it hangs on with 1 HP. Oh my god. Okay, I mean, you have to keep recovering, right? Recover's your only play. So we plot. We plot into Overheat. Yeah, because they can't do damage to us, so the only way they would win this game is off time, so all we need to do is make sure they're at lower HP than we are when it comes to the end of time, but... You know, I commend my opponent for trying to fight it out. I don't think +1 Overheat's KOing there, so yeah. You can go for another Recover now. 3 turns of Trick Room. We really don't want to make sure they don't win the game off time, right? They should always recover here. There's only 10 seconds left too. This is insane. They went for Eerie Impulse. Yeah, the only way they can win is if they end up with more HP than us at the end of the turn, right? So as long as we keep dealing damage, it's fine. Although Overheat there actually would have won the game. I'm going to Overheat now. We also only have 8 seconds left, so we need to click fast. I should have thought about this endgame more. I really thought +3 Overheat would have done it against Porygon, though. And it survived with so little. Okay, they go for Try Attack, so if they don't freeze, we should be good here. Yeah, that procs the berry. They can't win off time, I don't think. But this is a game, like, it's a good example of why, like, you have to be really careful against these defensive teams. Because, to be honest, I think my opponent misplayed. If they just, the turn with Ho, if they just went for Sacred Fire and KO Thundurus, there's no way Rotom wins the 2v1 against Ho and Porygon. So, but we also misplayed by not KOing things faster. I don't know. I didn't think Ho needed to recover the first turn it was out, because I think if you just protect, you guarantee that you survive. But all we needed to do was get a plot boost onto Rotom before the Porygon made it onto the field, because then we can just knock out Porygon. But we didn't do that. So in the end, we win, but it was a lot messier than it should have been. And that's something, for how good the leads was, that game should have been over in like 10 minutes. But my opponent played really well to like dig themselves out of a really tough position. That's why Eerie Impulse is one of the best moves in the format right now. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, so thanks as always for watching.